This is a healing light deck. This is actually pretty. You guys probably seen it before, but maybe you haven't. It's a really interesting mix of light and shadow. Kind of, you know, I'm not a themed deck kind of person. Some people have, you know, fantasy decks or Halloween decks, or you know, that's what they do. So use, you know, risque decks. I do have one. Maybe at the end of these for the weekend, I will just do a short little fun reading with those, not directed at anything, not any particular question, just to kind of show you. This is an over 18 content, absolutely. If I do that, I will probably put an age restriction because they're that risque. All right, Virgos, let's see what you got going on for this weekend. 17th and 18th. Ooh. Ooh. There's something heavy going on with Virgos. I don't know. I don't know that I would necessarily call it bad. I can't tell. It's just heavy there. Oh, yeah, sticky. Virgos. Stress, anxiety, feels like maybe. I'm not sure, but there's something heavy going on for Virgos. All right, Virgos, what you got for the overall weekend? Yikes! And nervous about something. Overall energy. Most immediate past for Virgo for this weekend. Most immediate past energy for Virgos for this weekend. October 17th and 18th. Most immediate relevant past energy for this weekend. For Virgos for this weekend. Most immediate past energy for Virgos. Present energy for Virgos this weekend. Present energy. Really heavy. Most likely outcome for the weekends. Oh, I'm relieved to see that. I think. We'll see what the overall outcome. Overall outcome for this situation for Virgos. Overall outcome. I don't know that second card is accurate. I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to guarantee that it fits. It's the Knight of Wands. Yeah, it is. It's accurate. Cups in reverse. Yeah. I think this is connection. We'll see. All right. Overall energy. Expectation to disappointment. That is just a very clear energy. There is an expectation, if it's upright, of an outcome of fruition, of a gain, seeds planted in a time of harvest, and I feel like there's disappointment. And that disappointment, I feel like, is triggering a release, sort of a, I don't want to say giving up or a walking away per se, but just like, man, sucks, you know? So sort of a begrudging acceptance kind of thing, and the recognition that there is or will be or needs to be a new place to plant seeds that did not render an outcome. Like maybe they were just bad seeds. Like, you know, if you do any kind of planting and you do it from seed, sometimes you get ones that they're just duds. They don't do anything. And maybe there is only one of something planted and it didn't produce. And it's like, well, shit, that season's over. And I don't know if it was the seeds or the soil, but when it's time to plant again, I'm going to do both. New seeds, new soil. But there's this having to wait before that next attempt can be made. And maybe and a frustration about that due to the disappointment. So there may have been, you know, all this work to prepare and to the expectation of there being something to gain at the end of it. And it's really just, you know, if you look at the pentacles as kind of a fruit or the produce or what's supposed to come out of it, they're all kind of not real great looking. So it's just kind of like there's nothing I can do with this. It's and like I said, it's not giving up. It's just giving up for right now because the opportunity isn't present to try again. And so there's a frustration and disappointment in that, and a lot of that is based on that expectation of you've planted the seeds, you've sowed you've tilled the soil, you've cleared it, you've done everything you're supposed to. You watered, you fertilized, you put in the seeds, you did everything that you thought was right, and this is the result. It's not necessarily that you did anything wrong, it's just these things happen, you know? And chances are everything happens for a reason. There is a reason that these efforts did not render results right now. Most immediate past energy, 6 of Wands, and reverse 6 of Wands is typically one of, which goes right here with this. 6 of Wands is typically a very mild victory card. It's kind of it's almost like a stand your ground, which is 9 of Wands, 7 of Wands, 9 of Wands, some division of 3. You know, it's, but in reverse, whenever you have Wands in reverse, unless it's a literal conflict card, it's pretty much a stagnation. It's a non-movement, because Wands are fire energy, so it's very rapid, it's very fast, there's a lot of fire and passion in it. It's fire energy. So typically if you have Wands in reverse, it's a standing still. You know, it's a lack of movement, usually related to just being kind of worn out because you've expended so much energy into something, and it's just, you know, and so it is kind of a quieter victory. It's not the rapid movement. 9 of Wands, stand your ground, aggressive. It's more like a moving into a state of victory, but it's in reverse, you know, so it is this kind of defeated energy, you know, but it is past, so that would indicate temporary. Judgment, karma, Knight of Pentacles is very slow moving. And it's an offer. It's a small offer moving towards, into, can be an apology. You know, Page of Pentacles can too. Page of Swords can't be because of communication, offering. The Knight of Pentacles is going to be something bigger. It's going to be something that's of genuine value, but it's not the whole package. Of stability, abundance, you know, it's I want to bring this to the table, but it's sideways, which means transition. So there may be a block and this desire to move forward. You know, is it you are stopping yourself, or is there an actual block, some reason that you are not progressing forward in this? And I do feel like there is a divine, clearly, reason that this forward movement is not occurring. So there's this drive, this desire, you are prepared to offer, you are ready, and then you have this stagnant energy. It's just a time to wait. You might want to move forward a little more quickly, but it's not the right time. There's a karmic occurrence going on for this. So there may be more in this that goes beyond this weekend. There may be something in between, even though this is supposed to be a 48-hour reading, there may be something in between. There may be an occurrence, an event that the cards are not showing because it is such a short and brief reading. Possible future outcome, the Sun. Now, typically the Sun card is the happiest card in the deck. I don't see that in this deck. Oh man, I'm seeing all kinds of things I've never seen before in this. This could be a connection with a Leo. I do feel like this is about a connection in some way. And, you know, this indicates a fire energy. And there's pentacles, so it may be, it could be an earth energy, it could be an earth fire energy. Virgo is earth, so yeah, that's you. So this may be the person you're connecting with. And it's supposed to be the happiest card in the deck. I really do not see happiest card in the deck with this one. This is supposed to be like a seabird, like a seagull or something, and all of a sudden when I looked at it, to me it looks like a dagger coming down from the sky, and it's aimed right for this dude that's bent over. I am going to sacrifice myself to the sun god. I have never noticed that before. And there's this kind of, okay, I'm waiting for it, sort of energy in the sun god. which is kind of this watermarked image. This sort of haughty looking down on. And you can see, you know, there is both the representation of a male and the representation of a female. And this seagull slash dagger is only coming down on the masculine, on the male. So I'm kind of and then, so you have this kind of haughty looking down. There is also a woman, a nude. So I see a face of a man, and here's the eyes, the nose, there's a goatee. But if you look, there's also a woman with a sheet wrapped around her waist, stretching. There's her arms. You know, this is kind of a halo, her neck's back. You have the breast, the torso, belly button. Which very much mimics this energy here. See the arms raised, head kind of leaning to the side, arm raised, head kind of leaning to the side. And then in the background, over here, is the American flag. And it's hard to see, it's hard to tell unless you're like actually looking at the card. It's very hidden in there. And the trees up in this corner aren't, normally in the summer you're going to see a lot of growth. You're going to see greenery. You're going to see things in full bloom. These trees are bare. There's not much there. But those are dead or winter branches. As bare as a bone. And not a whole lot of happy in here. And she's right in front. So I feel like there's a lot of sacrifice going on here. There's a lot of selfish energy, so whoever the feminine is, which is interesting because the sun is actually masculine energy. But maybe that's the issue. Maybe the feminine, maybe there's a female with a lot of masculine energy, and maybe she is exerting some kind of power and control because, you know, we live in a masculine, male-dominated world. And this is what she perceives as being her birthright. To be front and center, to be this worshipped entity that takes on and takes over a masculine energy and sacrifices that. You know, or it could be a male person that's connected with the feminine energy and they are sacrificing their masculine energy in favor of feminine. Either way, it's kind of the same thing where a feminine energy, whether male or female, is sacrificing the masculine energy, which then creates an imbalance, especially since the sun is masculine energy. That's going to create a massive energetic imbalance. Yin yang. Massive energetic imbalance. You can't sacrifice one energy for the other. They need each other. It doesn't matter if it's male, female. It's about the energy and the balance and the equality. So with this being a very likely outcome, you, Virgo, you may be getting protected. You may be getting blocked from moving forward towards this, even though this is the most likely outcome. It may be the most likely outcome if you push through and you're being blocked. Which is a protection. Karma works both ways. It's just energy. And it may be that you have put out sufficient high vibrational energy that your karmic return is to protect and guard you. You know, assuming you're the more masculine energy or whatever, whoever is being possibly sacrificed in this exchange. Most likely outcome. Really kind of the same thing. An imbalance of energy. Opposing forces, even. The Knight of Wands, Queen of Cups in reverse. Queen of Cups in reverse, she is not in her power. The Knight of Wands clearly is a fire energy. They have all the power. Rapid movement. Knowing what they want and going after it. Potentially at all costs. It can be a very impulsive energy. Queen of Cups, somebody who is very in tune with her emotions, very balanced internally. A giver, a Queen of Cups is Cancer energy, basically. That very giving, maternal, caring, compassionate, you know, and there's the recognition ruling from the heart, but not necessarily allowing the heart to control, not allowing the emotions to control, but a recognition, a value and appreciation, a very close connection with that feminine aspect of the self. This is either being disconnected from your emotion or being too much in your emotion. Now, depending on what we're looking at, it could go either way. It could be this fire energy is closed off and they're going after what they want just because they want it. It could be a very manipulative energy. It could be that, you know, this is you or them, and there's too much emotion, there's attachment, there's codependence on this energy. Again, we have the masculine and the feminine, and it's imbalanced. It's unequal. Just like it is here. Now in this one, it's an unequalness in the feminine to the masculine, but again, we still have that same fire energy as being the one in power, basically, energetically speaking. Basically, consuming, taking away from this gentler water energy. And if you look at the sun card in the background, there is water here in between, and like a, yeah, it looks like a lake, you're seeing it with rocks. maybe ocean. So again, we have an unequal power exchange. And I do feel very much like these outcomes here you, Virgo, are being protected from. You've garnered sufficient faith in and from and collaboration, cooperation, and co-creation from the universe that you're being protected. And to just kind of stay put for now. Virgos. You can move forward with a self, but whatever this energy is that you are wanting to move toward, you might want to reroute a bit. I feel like you're being redirected. And to avoid this outcome. So I hope that helps, Virgo. This is a divine intervention. This is a very direct, specific divine intervention. The very strong recommendation is not to try and push past it. Allow it to be what it is. So, you know, this is also a major arcana, but the energy in this one, it's very much like it feels like this other person, whoever it is, that this Leo energy, this fire energy, it could be an Aries energy, especially with all this conflict. Whoever this fire energy is, I feel like this is a foundation of their own karma. So they're going to have their own story that lines up, particularly after this. Because the universe is always about balance, and this is not a balanced energy. This is not the happiest card in the deck. And the energy is not the happiest card in the deck at all. So I hope that helps, Virgo, and you listen to your guides and your intuition and follow what is set up to be for your highest and greatest good for right now. The seeds planted did not come to fruition right now for a reason. So what comes after? Between you and the divine. Right now is a waiting period. It's a time to work with the self and the universe in that way that has that level of guidance and protection. So judgment can be a very challenging energy to work with. It can also be a very, very favorable card, as you're saying. Very favorable energy. So I hope that helps, Virgo. And lets you know that you are exactly where you are. If you are in that waiting energy, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. And you are protected. So it's not to say that other energy is necessarily bad. It's extremely imbalanced. And that may be the reason that nothing came to fruition. So there's more work in that to be done. We are talking about people and relationships here. That is not to say the person that is represented in that imbalanced energy is a bad person. It's saying that there is such a high level of inequality and imbalance within them that it has the potential to cause harm to you. And they have their own journey. And you have your journey, and now is not the time to move towards that energy. So I just want to be clear, when that kind of heaviness comes out in a connection, do not make the mistake that this implies that that person, that individual, is unworthy, isn't good enough, isn't this, isn't that. That's not what it's about. What it's about is we are all on our own paths. And it's not always the right time for either to join on the same path. Sometimes sometimes one person's at this level on this path, and sometimes there's a person on this path. And sometimes there's a time where they just have to go out their own way. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a very beneficial, healthy thing. It's protecting you or whoever and giving them space and freedom to take in their lessons and life experiences that's going to help move them forward. Because if you have two dysfunctional people, regardless of how highly elevated their soul energy is, or how much they might have this drive to connect, even when it's mutual, if what is in the mind is getting in the way, it can do a lot of damage. So we always want to clear out that stuff before trying to come together with another person. And it doesn't matter if it's a divinely guided union or a casual thing. It doesn't matter. If we aren't healthy and well and feel good about ourselves within, it is going to show up externally. How you treat other people is a direct reflection of how you are treating yourself. Only people treat themselves in their heads a whole lot worse than what we see on the outside. That shit goes deep. And it's going to keep coming. You can't fix it from the outside. It has to be fixed from the inside. And until it is, it's going to keep coming out. It's going to keep coming out. And it's still going to hurt the people around you, intentional or not. So sometimes when we're directed away from, blocked from, separated from, it's so that both people, both humans, in the head, in the psychology, in the emotions, from past pain and injury and insecurity, can work with themselves so that when they do come forward, they're not hurting you, and you can do the same thing. So that when you are ready to come forward, you are not hurting somebody that you care about. This isn't a they aren't good enough or I'm not good enough. It's not a value statement. So I want to be very clear about that. It's not a judgment, it's not a value statement about the quality of the human being. It's an opportunity to come into your being in a way that brings light, joy, love, peace, happiness, gives you that ability to bring it to the table. But you can't bring it to the table for other until you can give it to yourself. Because if you can't give it to yourself, that means you just don't have it to give. So separation is not a bad thing. It doesn't feel good. It hurts. But it's not a worthiness statement. It's not a value statement. It's quite the opposite. It's that you are so valued, so important, that the universe is going to step in and make sure you have the space to heal, they have the space to heal, so nobody gets hurt even more than they've already been. When there is a state of separation between two people, it is because you are that important, that loved, that valued by the divine to protect you from more pain and to give you the space and the opportunity to work with what already is, to heal it, so it's no longer there to bring to someone else. And this is a collective message under Virgo. So I'll timestamp the end of the reading into the collective message, or maybe I'll just pair them. But I think it's very, very important that people understand, regardless of the nature of the connection, regardless of the label that you apply, ultimately you are dealing with human beings who, some have dealt with trauma, some have dealt with abuse, some just had a shitty life, shitty relationships. Well, that's going to continue until the work within, because what is within, you bring forward.